He's Kelly Slater, professional surfer, 11-time world champ. And Kelly actually lost to Mick Fanning in the semifinals of that tournament where Mick Fanning was attacked by the shark. Kelly Slater, kind enough to join us from Johannesburg. How are you, Kelly?
Good, Dan. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Did you ever think that could have been you out there if you had defeated Mick Fanning?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, of course, looking back at it now, it very well could have been because, you know, what happened in our semifinal, I just needed one more good score, and I was a little impatient and took a bad wave, and then a few minutes later, Mick got the best wave of the heat and put me out. Had I just been a little more patient, I probably would have got the wave to beat him, and I would have been in the final. And just the way it played out, Julian Wilson, he was more aggressive to sit further up the point and catch the first wave in the final. And I imagine the same thing would have happened with me in the final. The way I compete, I probably would have let him have the inside. He would have got the first wave, and then I would have probably been sitting somewhere close to where Mick was at the time. So, definitely, I've thought about it. A bunch of my friends and family have all said it's the first time we're glad we didn't see him make a final.
What did you see from the shore with the shark and Mick Fanning?
Well, my heat, the semifinal had finished about a half an hour prior to them surfing the final, and I stayed in the water the whole time. So I was surfing right there for a half an hour, for that whole hour before it happened. And then they started the final, and it happened about 3 or 4 minutes into the final. And about 3 or 4 minutes before that, I'd been sitting right where Mick was. So
man.
I'm sure the shark was probably sort of swimming around in that area for a while, or coming up the point, or, you know, I don't know which direction it came from, but, you know, it didn't look like he was in a hurry, you know, when it approached Mick. So it was probably sort of in that area. They're always around.
But have you seen them when you're surfing?
I haven't seen great whites in the water. I've seen tons of sharks. I'm from Florida, so I've seen hundreds of sharks over the years, and I've seen them in Tahiti and Fiji and Australia. You know, basically all over the world. I have seen a great white breach here before at Jeffreys Bay. I'm still at Jeffreys Bay now, and I've been surfing the last couple of days here. But we see sharks all over the world. It's natural, you know. It's like if a shark went on land, you'd see a human. It's sort of the same thing.
What did you say to Mick? Came out of the water, and was he in shock?
Yeah, he's in shock. I think he was in shock for quite a while. I saw him right after, and then I saw him that night, and, you know, hung out with him for a bit that night with a bunch of friends. And he was pretty shocked. You know, I mean, but it's one of those things you have to. I don't know if playing mind games with yourself is the right word, but I mean, it's a reality of it's a realistic threat for what we do. You know, a couple months ago, I had a dinner with Derek Jeter, and I asked him, me and we were talking about surfing, and he said, I'll never surf. I'm too scared of sharks. And I said, well, that's kind of, you know, statistically, there's nothing to be worried about. You know, millions and hundreds of millions of people go in the water between each shark attack. And he said, I'm not hearing that. I don't care what he's saying. So this kind of brings it home. But, you know, Mick was lucky. The shark didn't even take a nibble. Sort of a friend of a friend of mine had his leg bitten off 2 months ago in South Australia. 3 weeks ago, I was surfing in Australia, just 2 miles away from where a guy had his leg bitten off earlier that morning. The day after that, 2 miles in the other direction, a guy got bumped off his board by a shark. The next day, another person got bumped off the board by a shark. 2 days ago, or yesterday, a shark attacked a jet ski on the Gold Coast in Australia. There was actually a shark attack this morning at St. Lou in Reunion Island, where there's been something like a dozen attacks in the last 3 years.
Wait, Kelly, you're just telling me that you told Jeter that you shouldn't be afraid of sharks, and then you've just rattled off 9 shark attacks here.
That was about 15. Yeah, no, it's more of it's just a statistical improbability. But when you actually look at certain places, there's certain places we know you just don't go surf because there's a lot of sharks in that area. They're aggressive, or they're looking for something that, you know, looks like a turtle or a seal or I mean, there's always that realistic fear. I saw a guy get thrashed by a shark here once, but it didn't bite him and just kind of like came up and did the same thing that one did to Mick. You know, I think most people who sort of been around a lot of sharks, they kind of don't think that the thing was trying to attack Mick. It just was sort of curious, and great whites are pretty curious by nature, and they check things out, and it might have just been coming up, kind of seeing what that was moving in the water, and then, you know, we all sort of, none of us will ever know, it's all assumption, but it seems like the shark got his face stuck in Mick's leash, and that probably freaked him out, and he was like, whoa, wait, that's when he started thrashing it. He didn't come up in an attack mode with his head up and his tail down, and that's what generally great whites do. It looked more like his head was down, his tail was up, and it bit through the leash. So, I mean, it's not a comforting feeling, but it's, you know, we have to try and take the emotion out of it and be realistic about what happened.
He's Kelly Slater, the 11-time world champion, joining us from South Africa on Dan Patrick Show. Is there something that can be put in the water during competition? I know that, you know, that they're against nets for keeping the sharks out, but is there any kind of sound device, noisemaker that would keep sharks out of the area during the competition?
There's a number of things they can do. They have baited hooks actually on the Gold Coast in Australia. They've hooked, I think I heard 9 great whites in the last year off this one. It's real close to a popular surf break. They can put, nets are funny because they catch a lot of stuff that shouldn't be caught. And they actually don't go from the surface to the bottom. You know, it might be 40 feet deep and they only cover the first 10 feet or something like that. But a friend of mine who, he always wears a shark device on his ankle. It emits a frequency that, you know, sharks they have no bone, they're all cartilage. And so this frequency affects cartilage and doesn't affect humans. And that's one thing he can wear. And also he told me they have this new thing that sends out, great whites are terrified of orcas. And so they have this other thing where they're sending out, you put the thing in the water and it sends out an orca sound. And so they believe that has some kind of validity with regards to this.
We're going to be out in Los Angeles at the beginning of August. Are you competing at the in the U.S. Open?
I'm not this year. No, I'm not going to be out there for that event.
Oh well, I was going to go.
Yeah, well, you can still go. I mean,
well, I know, but I was only going to go if you were going to be competing, because then I could say, yeah, I know Kelly Slater.
Well, I could say I know Dan Patrick.
Yeah,
cool.
that's not going to help. But you're not retired, right?
No, I'm not retired. I'm still competing full time, just still enjoying it.
All right. Well, maybe we can hang at the beach, though. We don't have to go surfing. Maybe we'll just we could hang out and look at the waves together.
We could do that, or I could take you surfing. And, you know,
you can
sort of experience it yourself.
All right. I would be up for it. I would, how long would it take? How good a teacher are you?
How good a student are you?
Oh, God. It always comes back to this. I was good at cheating off my neighbor's paper, so I would be cheating off you. How's that? I'm a
That's fine.
Okay.
Just pretend you've been doing it for years and you know what you're doing. You'll be fine.
I'd be willing to try.
No, I could probably get you up on a wave, literally on your first wave. If you get the right board, you get a big stable board that's, you know, closer to like a boat. I don't, you know, that's the thing when you begin. You can stand up in a boat, right, Dan?
Yes. Now, can I wear water wings or floaties?
If you want to, you might be out there by yourself then.
Oh, okay. All right. I was going to wear a Speedo. Is that okay?
We do have inflatable. One of my best friends nearly drowned a few years ago, and he developed like a parachute pull kind of inflatable wetsuit. And so there's a number of different versions of this now. So like in big surf, guys wear flotation built in, like foam built into the wetsuits, but then they also have these pulley flotations that will use a CO2 cartridge that just immediately will pull you to the surface and even make you buoyant in thick whitewater and big surf.
Will you surf with me if I wear a Speedo?
That's fine. I got a friend that surfs in Speedos occasionally, so I do it.
Good to talk to you, Kelly, and stay safe, and hopefully we'll cross paths.
All right, and you haven't spoken to Mick?
No, we reached out to him, but yeah, we were trying to. We were told that he wasn't doing too much.
Oh yeah, he's pretty busy in Australia, but it's amazing. You know, the funny thing about this whole thing to me is that Mick Fanning is, in my eyes, one of the great athletes in the world. He's won 3 world titles, and now everyone's heard about him because he almost got bit by a shark.
I know. This was actually good for his career, Kelly.
No, it's great. He's a good guy. I'm just really happy nothing happened to him.
Thank you, Kelly.
Besides mentally.
Yes, it's mentally scarred. Thank you, bud.
Talk to you guys soon.
Okay, that's Kelly Slater, surfing legend, and willing to maybe give me a little instructional.